They got there, he wasn't there, but he was just walking around the area.
Sure. Yeah, we're gonna do it early on.
Okay.
Hey,
Hi, Karen.
how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. See a little bit of you everywhere.
Maybe more
All right,
than one.
it's 6 o'clock.
It's 6 o'clock?
Yes.
Okay, this is the April 13th, 2022 meeting of the Village of Millbrook Board of Trustees. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You be seated. Sarah, as soon as you're ready, we'll do a roll call of trustees.
Yep, I'm ready. Mayor Calapi?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Contino?
Here.
Trustee Herzog?
Here.
Trustee Arbogast?
Here.
And Trustee Dorr is absent.
Peter's off helping his wife with delivery of their second baby, so wishing him a lot of luck for that. Haven't heard yet. He headed out yesterday to the hospital, so good luck to him. Let's do some good news first. Mike, you want to discuss Declan Noonan, our latest Eagle Scout for Troop 31?
Sure. Declan is just finished his Eagle project in October, turned 18 in December, graduated Dover High School. He's a real role model when it comes to his behavior and his leadership as part of the Scout Troop. He's been involved with Scout Troop 31 for that whole time. And he's off to college in the fall, as is a number of our Eagle Scouts. So, I don't have the schools pending yet.
Okay. All right, congratulations to him. It was very nice. Okay, and the second thing, of course, everyone knows that the Millbrook High School girls basketball team won the state championship. That's been all around. We're going to make a presentation next Tuesday at the school board meeting. And with Sarah's help, we put together a nice little proclamation that I'll give to the board. It's a nice thing for each of the players and the coaches, just to recognizing their accomplishment. And the key to the, whatever it is. I asked George Whalen for the key to the bank, he said no. So this is, anyway.
Next thing.
So thanks for doing that, Sarah, and we'll make a presentation next Tuesday at the board meeting. Any trustees are welcome to attend. Please do if you can.
I believe the meeting starts at 7 o'clock.
It's 7? Okay.
And the first thing they do is what they call accolades, which means anything like that will be, get that done, get out of the way, so you're not there for 2 hours.
I asked our neighbor if her daughter had been notified yesterday.
About the ceremony?
Yeah.
Well, that's up to the
So
school.
possible the girls won't be there?
Well, hopefully the girls will be there. I talked to the superintendent of schools, and she's invited the girls and the coaches, and she wanted this done in front of the board. So,
Should I call the principal and just remind him, or?
yeah, I would.
I'll do that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Call.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not mandatory that they be there. It would be nice if they were there.
No, I didn't think they would
Yeah.
want to be there.
Yeah, okay. And the last piece of good news I've got is one of the surprises I got when I first took over this job was the Office of the State Controller sent me a letter saying our fiscal stress has been degraded. We were rated as susceptible to fiscal stress because of some prior year budget issues. And I'm happy to report that we got our latest statement from the State Controller's Office, and our score improved from 47.5, highest bad, down to 3.3. And so our fiscal stress rating went from susceptible to fiscal stress to no designation. And the only reason why it's 3.3 is because they carry over for a couple of years prior things. So my thanks to Karen, of course, and Sarah and Nicole, for the trustees, and also for the department heads for all the good work you guys did to just monitor your budget. It really made a difference, so I really thank you for that. All right? All right, that's it for the good news for this meeting. All right, so let's go to the agenda. Okay.
Just roll it up.
Well, how do I minimize the page? Okay, can you all see that?
Yeah.
So here's the agenda. We're going to start off with the administrative business, including the public hearing for the 22-23 budget. Then we'll go through department reports, some new business including a request for funding for a new website, some proclamations. I want to summarize the visit we had. The Deputy Mayor and I visited Senator Serino yesterday, and then some updates on some old business, public comments, and then the board member updates. All right. And the next meeting will be May 11th. I assume, Matt, you keep an eye when I post those next meetings, and you check, make sure the calendars are still good, right?
Yeah, you're good for the whole year.
Good. Thanks so much.
We went through that already.
Doesn't hurt to do it again. All right. Well, first, before the budget, let's do the minutes. So Sarah sent out this afternoon the minutes for the last 3 meetings, including the last monthly meeting plus the 2 budget meetings. I did ask for a change to the wording on one thing. I think she edited it and sent it back out again, correct?
Yes, I did.
Any questions or comments from the trustees about the minutes? I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes as is. Second? Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Okay. Next is the vouchers. Let's go here first. So, Nicole just sent out the summary report this afternoon for the vouchers for the month. One question I have is the operating expense report, Sarah, does that include the vouchers that we have on our desk right now to sign?
Yes.
Oh, it does. Okay, good. There's only 3 things I saw that was interesting to me. One is that we pay $1,200 on an annual basis to general code
Yes.
as a maintenance kind of thing. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
So that's in addition to the money we're paying them to update.
That's our annual fee,
Yeah,
and then the other one's the proposal to
actually change
modify.
the, okay, fine.
Correct.
I was surprised about that. And I see, Ted, that there's $2,000 more spent by the ambulance crew for materials, which basically uses, I think, the $15,000.
They should be
which is
close to
the
the end of their
reserve.
budget, yeah.
Yeah. So basically they're shut off for the year as far as that comes concerned, right?
Okay.
All right. And there was a $260 for the Millbrook restoration. I think I discussed this last month, where we, as part of the Millbrook restorations, would pay for an audit of the assessment that was given for Zach's expansion to the back of Rose. And that's what $260 is there for. All right. In general, the budget looks in good shape. Our revenues are $350,000 over expenses year to date. And water and sewer are also on budget. The sewer's in really good shape. The water is right on. Expenses are equal revenues. Any issues that you guys saw with the invoices, questions or concerns? The trustees? All right.
I haven't reviewed it yet.
Oh, okay, fine. I just got this afternoon. So here's the totals for this month. The general, the water, the sewer. We talked about Millbrook restorations. A total of $133,597.80. Now the note, Sarah, it says we're going to pay $14,000 to the fire department in May. Just to be clear, we're going to spend $14,000 from the budget,
Correct.
and we're going to spend $20,000 from the reserve fund, where we migrated the ambulance reserve over into this repair fire rescue fund, right?
Right, we're waiting for them to pay.
Right. So Matt, just to be clear again, the first check to the fire department will be for $34,000. We're hoping we can make that by the end of this fiscal year,
Okay.
before June 1st. And I gave you the schedule for the next payments for the rest of our $85,000 payment, right?
I just have to put it in writing and have it signed.
Good. All right. I think we're all set there. So, okay, good. I'll make a motion that we accept the voucher totals. Can you get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you. All right, so now we're going to go to a public hearing for the approval of the budget for the 2022-2023 budget for the village. Here's a summary of what's in the budget. The planned growth we have for the budget is within the New York State tax cap. There's a 2% tax levy increase, 1% in the tax rate, 1% in the assessed value of the property. In the total budget for the A fund is $2.1 million. And that's $1.1 million from the levy and $1 million from other sources like the town, or the state, the county, such things as that. The breakout for the A fund, there's 4 major categories. You see fire and rescue, $709,000. Just to know that of that $709,000, $405,000 of that is NDP, our 24/7 contract with NDP. So almost 60% of the fire rescue budget is the contract we have with NDP for their ambulance service. Front office is 31% of the budget, highway is 22%, and the police is 12%. And as far as in the A fund, we got 2 major projects. One is the repair of the retaining wall, and the second is to support the fire company's replacement of the roof. Now, go to the right side of the chart, the F fund. We do need a 7% increase in the rate because VRI has increased their admin costs. By contract, they increase their admin costs consistent with the CPI, which went up, I think, 6.something% this year. All right. So with that increase, the higher energy costs that they're predicting, and the number of filter replacements we have for the new water filtration project, we need a 7% rate increase, which is 50 cents per 1,000 gallons, to make sure the F fund stays standalone. All right. On the sewer fund, we can contain the VRI admin cost and the energy cost increases within our current rates. We are going to put a new pump station down in South Millbrook with a generator, at least put the plans in place. Don't know if it's going to come in time for this budget, but at least we will commit to do that. But even with those things, we can keep the sewer fund standalone without any rate increase. Any questions from anybody about the budget from a high level? No? All right, well, now I want to make a motion that we open the public hearing for review of the new budget. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so anyone from the public have a question, a comment, a concern? Deirdre?
Do not. Thank you for crafting your excellent budget.
Oh, thank you. Anybody else? Yes, Karen, go ahead. I dare you.
Okay, so
What?
this dovetail with the $400 bond that we're
$400,000 bond?
Right,
Okay.
$400,000 bond. So the choice for the board is to go with a 10-year debt schedule or a 15-year debt schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So
So okay, just to be specific, $400,000 is to cover the replacement of the pump station in South Millbrook and a generator, and to complete the funding for the retaining wall.
correct,
All right, so it's really 2 different projects in the $400,000.
correct,
Okay,
from 2 different funds.
that's right.
Okay, so, and we did budget, looking ahead, we did budget from both of those funds for principal and interest. So I'm just making the point that if the board decides to go with the 10-year amortization budget for the sewer fund, we may need to take some money from the transfer to capital and put it in for that principal
How much?
payment. Probably like $7,000.
So the rate we got from the Bank of Millbrook had a lower rate between the 2 responses we got. We got one from Salisbury, it was like 4.something%.
4.15.
Okay, and from the Bank of Millbrook it was 3% for the 10-year loan, and it was
3.70 for 15.
For 15 years. Okay. And we need this to fund both the retaining wall and the pump station.
So we can do it for the 10-year, and I think that the interest rate for 10 years is 3%.
Mm-hmm.
The interest rate for 15 years is 3%. So normally it's not that big of a difference, but in this one it is. For that 5 years, it is a big difference for the interest rate. So we would need to take $8,800 from the transfer to capital and the sewer. Sorry, staff. But, I mean, I think it gets that project moving forward, so.
Mhm.
And then we would need to take the $3,000 from contingency,
Oh, good.
general fund, and we can put that towards the principal payment there, and then we're good.
Well, how much is the principal plus interest for the first year of the 10-year?
Actually, you know what? Sorry, I was looking at the total payment. The principal amount is $35,000. The interest amount is $12,000. So actually, we're good. Sorry, I was taking the total payment.
Okay, because we're going to split that between the
Right.
money for the
Right,
retaining
we
wall.
got 20 for sewer, 15 for general, so that's 35. So, all right, no, we're good on principal. We got 10 for sewer and 4 for general, so, no, we're good. I'm sorry, I was looking at the total payment, so we're good.
And that's if we do a 10-year.
Yes.
And the reason why I'm interested in 10 years as opposed to 15 is because for the life of the program, how much interest do we pay for the 10-year? 69,000, I think it is.
68,900 for the 15-year, 128,370.
Okay, so it's only like double the interest. So if
So
we
it
do it
is.
in 10 years.
Yeah, it is substantial.
And between you and I, we're doing this as the Fund Up Plan A. We're also working in parallel, trying to get FEMA to help us with some of that money as well. So my vision is that we're going to get the 400,000 in the bank, start spending as we need it, but as quick as money as we can, if we get the money reimbursed from the government, we pay that thing off.
You know, yeah.
Okay. So I don't expect it to last even 10 years. That's my vision, okay?
So, yeah.
So I guess the question
So we're
is,
good on that, sorry.
All right.
We're good.
all right, so any comments from the public about any of that stuff? So then I want to make a motion. So, by the way, this is a public hearing on both the budget as well as the rate increase for the water, right?
Okay.
That's why I wanted you here.
Yeah, you should have separate
I should have separate, okay.
public hearing for
Well, then I should do the rate increase first because I need that in order to go to the budget.
Right.
Where were you 5 minutes ago?
You could have them simultaneously and just have another motion to open the public hearing for the rate increase. And
Within the public hearing for the budget?
yeah, I don't.
Okay. So I'm going to make a motion that we open the public hearing for the rate increase for the water of 50 cents per 1,000 gallons. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any public comments, questions? Certainly somebody's going to be confused. Okay, then when do we vote on that? After we close the public hearing?
After you close the public
I'm
hearing.
going to make a motion to close the public hearing on the rate increase. A second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We've exhausted the questions regarding the budget. I'll make a motion to close the public hearing on the budget. A second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. The public hearings are now closed. Now I want to make a motion for the board to approve the, is it two motions or is it one?
Two motions, one for the rate increase.
I'm going to make a motion for the board to approve the rate increase on the water to 50 cents per 1,000 gallons. Can we get a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Yes,
Everybody in favor?
Favor, yes.
Okay, good.
yes.
All right, so that is passed. Do you need one of those vote things, Sarah, where you go person by person or not? No. What about for the budget?
We haven't before, so
We have or haven't?
no.
Okay,
You guys
fine.
just made motions.
I'm going to make a
to
motion
pass
that we approve the budget as documented for 2022, 2023. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the budget is done. All right, good job. Thanks, everybody. Ian, thanks for being here to straighten us out there. What is this, Sarah? I gotta keep doing this?
Did you break my computer?
it.
Ah,
Yeah, not super secret.
okay, let's, oh yeah, thanks for doing that. Okay,
Just tap it every now and then, so it doesn't sleep.
before we go on to fire, so Deirdre, any update from the Dutchess County Legislature?
A couple things I want to share with you guys this
Okay.
evening. We had our meeting Monday night, our legislative meeting Monday night, and it was announced that, as I'm sure some people are aware, when we originally were funded our ARP dollars, the county took $12.5 million and put it towards Dutchess Stadium upgrades, which of course is a county park. Many people did not know that we didn't own the ground the stadium was on. So we used some of the money and we purchased the ground the stadium was on. And then we did an RFP and went out to bid on some construction upgrades for the stadium. Due to inflation and all things aligning, the numbers came back way out of whack with what we had anticipated, what the county administration had anticipated. So they have gone back to the drawing board with the Renegade Group, and who run the AAA ball club. So as of now, we are going to divert the $9 million that was set towards stadium upgrades, because the $3 million has already been spent to buy the land. We're going to divert some of that money, and we are looking at putting it towards housing. Housing has come up as a big issue in the county. We were given on last Thursday at one of our committee meetings a housing needs assessment countywide. And I think if you guys are good with it, I would like to email you guys the PowerPoint. It's a few slides, it doesn't take long to go through.
Yeah.
But it's informative in the sense that it's showing housing needs in Dutchess County and kind of where the squeeze is coming, right? So people who can't get into that house, let's say they have a $300,000 budget and they can't get in there, they're dropping down to the $200,000, $250,000 price range, which is squeezing those people. So it's really affecting all housing. And the housing needs assessment has shown that countywide right now, we are about 2,000 housing units short.
Wow.
So the county is looking to they've done the study, they're looking for some comments and some input on remedying it. And certainly they don't expect all 2,000 housing units to be built. Some will be rehabbed, but we're looking at possibly spending some of that diverted money from the stadium into we're looking at ideas, maybe a housing trust, maybe a voucher system, maybe some ways to fund some low-cost construction, and then have a cap on income to allow some affordable housing countywide. We don't want to have a single, low-income housing structure in one place. So it would really be countywide. So we're looking at that. We're looking for input. It would be a 10 to 12-year plan, and the survey that was done, the assessment that was done, does not see the need growing rapidly past the 10 years. So obviously in 10 years we would reassess it, but we're looking to build out about 2,000 units, housing units, which of course does not mean a single family home necessarily, countywide. So that's something that's new on the table that we're
I'm surprised that maybe it's a cost factor, but there's a lot of apartments being built in Poughkeepsie. You go along your belt, and
They're not low income. They are
they're not
high
low income.
dollar.
And also that big complex before Adams, that's humongous.
Right, so these deals, and it's building out, and there's a waiting list, I understand.
Is that right?
And also, on Route 9 across from Marist College, they're going to do that building.
Oh yeah, right.
But that's not affordable housing.
Okay. So it's low income housing.
It would be scaled income, right? So it depends upon the unit and it depends upon the program. There's nothing set in stone as of this point.
Yeah.
It's just looking at who we can serve the best. Also, we funded in partnership with Dutchess Community College, a new program at the new Southern Dutchess DCC campus, and it's a mechatronics lab, and we're investing $2.1 million there. Through the workforce development and industry, there's been a need for robotics and logistics in the workforce, and many of the manufacturers in the county have said that they're sending their employees and people to Delhi and other places to get the training that is needed. So this will become a new program, hopefully opening in January of '23, as long as we order the lab equipment upon our approval on Monday, but it's an 8-month backlog to get the equipment to do the training program. So it will be a new a degree with Dutchess Community College, and also it will work for manufacturers who need to send their employees for training. They'll be offering some training. So that's exciting, and we expect it to bring some dollars to the county because maybe in Orange County there's a manufacturer that needs to have some employees trained, and they would send them to that location.
Right.
Here in the news, I know there was a press release done today that the county is looking to open an emergency housing shelter. It will be discussed at our May board meeting. It needs approval from the county legislature, and we'll be hashing it out over the next 30 days. There's been a location desired by the county exec's office, 26 Oakley Street in the city of Poughkeepsie, and so there's been some very negative comments and very positive comment on that, and so as legislators will work through it over the next 30 days and either voted in or not. So that's just something you'll see in the news.
Negative comments about the location?
Some people who came to our meetings were concerned about the location, the model. We're using the Bergen County, New Jersey model, their housing first model. Some people didn't like the model. Location, services, wraparound services, and what it actually means and how it assesses the needs of the homeless. Homelessness is an issue in Dutchess County. There's the current pods are not servicing the needs, and the maximum people that were housed there were in January. It was 144 people who were homeless in Poughkeepsie who needed housing for that night. And many people don't feel comfortable coming to a shelter. That was just people who came to the shelter. So there's definitely a need for some homeless services, and so we're looking at what is the best way to serve them. Lastly, I just want to announce that I'm very excited to tell you that on Monday the county legislature voted and approved the purchase of Camp New Teaming. So I know tonight you talked about a Boy Scout and Eagle Scout, and I was very happy to send him a commendation. So Camp New Teaming is actually in my district. It covers Pleasant Valley up on Davis Road off Tinkertown. It's a 270-acre Boy Scout camp. It was owned by the Boy Scouts. Due to financial issues with the Boy Scouts, it went up for bid, and the county was the high bidder. It will not become part of the county parks department. It will be kept as the same model that it is now, because there is a professional soccer club that uses it and has an active lease on it. However, it will give many opportunities for the Boy Scouts to still use it, which was imperative for me that they still have the opportunity to use it. It will allow youth throughout the county to use it. Our Path to Promise program will use it. I think Pleasant Valley Day Camp is trying to see if they can get in and using it. So it's really going to be a good opportunity and keep it in the hands of the county, so for the county youth to be able to use this park. And I was advocating for and ensured that Dutchess County youth would have priority over other, because this is a big deal to get this park, or to get this location. So it's very exciting, and I'm happy to sponsor.
Big deal for the county, big deal for the Boy Scouts too, because they needed to.
Correct. Yes.
Find that funding. Right, good.
The best part for me in terms of is this makes so much practical sense, is because through a number of donors that are beyond the county for the last 5 years, they've been doing all sorts of improvements at the camp. New lean-tos, new work down by the water area, a brand new building that could be used as a community center in 12 months a year, and they've invested close between $500,000 to $1 million in the last 5 years to get this camp up to snuff. And the original plan, which were changed, they were going to sell it to a private entity, which meant that they were going to turn it into a camp that would be offered to the public.
So the county bought it for $4 million. We spent $200,000 on FFE, furniture and equipment, furniture, fixtures and equipment. And then another $600,000 we're investing to make it ADA compliant. So it's a total of $4.8 million. But I really felt really strongly that it's a really good get for the county.
Good.
Yeah.
Any questions for Deirdre? All right, thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, Ted?
64 calls for March. Automatic fire alarms 13, motor vehicle accidents 3, EMS calls 41, 3 structure fires, 1 good intent call, 1 service call, and 2 wires down. The NDP paid ambulance went out 41 times. The volunteer ambulance responded 7 times, and the volunteer members responded to assist the paid unit 25 times. We went mutual aid to other districts for fire calls once, and for EMS calls 7 times, and we had no mutual aid in last month. Not super busy for March.
All right. So the firehouse roof. So, sir, you're saying we should have a motion for the board to accept it? So what is it,
Yes.
just a resolution or?
You just want to accept the bid from JP Woods.
Okay, fine. So I'll make a motion to accept the bid from JP Woods. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I think the town's already given their support. I thought we already did it. Sarah said she didn't have a record of it, so we just did that to make sure we're all I's dotted, T's crossed. And as Matt said, you're going to give us a payment plan for the $85,000 that we will pay using funds from what the town gives us as well over the next 5 years. We're going to do it next 5 years.
Correct.
Okay, good. Anything else, Ted?
No.
Matt, anything report on?
I awarded, thanks to Buffy sending me some links on some blind companies. I went out and got 3 bids, and Budget Blinds is awarded the work at $4,508. I still have to make my copies, and I'll bring them up to Sarah
Okay.
for next month's budget. Or bill.
You'll fill out one of those procurement
I'm
forms.
already filled out. I just have to make a
Good.
copy and bring it up.
All right. While we're on the topic, where are we with the MIG grant request? So Buffy, you were working with I think Mike and Matt on it?
Yep.
So what's the status of that?
We met, not this past Monday, but the one prior, and we're working on it. Matt was supposed to do some homework, along with myself and Mike. We were supposed to register and getting some stuff done for the grant with Ted, and we're moving along. We're hoping to have it completed sometime next week.
Completed means submitted?
Yeah.
Good. What's the target date? Is that before the target submission?
Oh yeah, the target date's May 4th.
May 4th.
Yeah.
It has to be by May 4th.
Good.
So we're hoping to have it in well before then.
And is there any issue with the possibility that we're going to be putting money up front to get the contract going before we actually receive the grant? In other words, if we pay for it, we can still get the money reimbursed, right?
I can answer it definitely yes. I haven't yet posed that question to someone in the county to get a verification, but I'm assuming that we can. So.
Yeah, can you just check and make sure there's nothing
I'm gonna contact your.
owners just going to
Yeah.
buy us those butt there? Matt, you're going to make a down payment. You're not going to pay the whole thing up front, right? The roof?
Depends on what JP Woods wants.
Okay. Usually there's something like a down payment, a payment in the middle of it, and a payment upon completion.
Correct.
Okay. So I'd rather you do something like that so we don't put it all up front, so we have no problems with getting a big grant to cover part of the full cost.
Part of the application delineates and says, as a specific question, will this project be going forward with if this funding is not approved? And you have to choose yes or no.
Yeah, okay.
So, I mean, I think it would be ridiculous to assume that, we haven't taken some steps
Mhm.
to go ahead and do that. I mean, we'll be answering yes, but it is going to go forward regardless.
All right, good. All right, so that's good news. So you'll submit the MIG by the end of next week. Right.
Hopefully, yes.
All
Our
right.
target date.
Good. Anything else, Matt?
I do not.
I was asking around trying to find out what's the response times been for NDP's EMS calls. And so I finally got a hold of Ed Murray, the CEO of NDP, and asked, what's it been for the last 12 months? So we issued me a report, and with Nicole's help, I was able to determine what are the median response times. So response time is from when the 911 call goes out to when somebody shows up at the place where the call came from. And so the meeting response time within the village is 7 minutes. And in the town outside the village, the meeting response time was 9 minutes. And in that database, 4% of the calls exceeded 20 minutes. All right. So I went with Mark Brown, he's their focal point, MDP, for generating this data. I went through some of the issues with the late calls, and predominantly they were situations where there was already a call out, and so another truck wasn't nearby. And the ones he showed me, they were all really low priority calls, such as green flag. So they decided not to move a truck from wherever, but just finish the call they're on, and then go to the next call. And that was 4% of the calls. All right. Any questions about that?
So you said the typical time is for 90 feet up to 96. I'm sure it varies, but what's the typical response time is that?
Well, I just said the median. The median is 7 minutes for the village and 9 minutes for the town. The reason why I use median and not average is because it doesn't include all the erroneous things on the back end.
Okay.
All right.
When I asked this question about a year ago, I think you said it was like 20, sometimes it could be as much as 20 minutes. So for a regular call in the village. So I feel like there's been an improvement. Do you know why?
Actually, I'll go back and look at the data. I pulled back when we were in contract discussions with NDP. I pulled that data. I think Ted pulled the data for me. And these numbers sound very, very similar.
It's pretty much in line.
Yeah.
It's been pretty consistent. So the 6 to 7 minute response time bracket is 12 to 15% of the calls, generally speaking. And I pulled data for the last 4 years yesterday and looked at it. And the 6 to 7 minute window is the highest by a significant margin.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's reflective of, I didn't just break out village versus town. I did the overall, and so when you do it that way, it drops even more. I think the response time in the village is actually, his may actually even be a little high. I'm not sure why 7 minutes sounds a little high to me.
But like I said, the distribution is very peaked. There's a lot of calls within the range.
There's a very steep peak right in the middle of it at that 6 to 7 minutes. And from there, the percentages drop dramatically to 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that 20-minute response, those are outliers. And again, like you said, usually it's because of a second call in district or something else where the unit's coming from another location, Wassaic, or coming from Poughkeepsie, responding from a previous call or something like that. And those are anomalies; those are outliers.
Yeah, right.
That's unusual.
So the improvements in Uniondale haven't borne fruit.
No, they have. Definitely,
That's separate from this data, though.
So
this is just responses within the town and within the village. It doesn't cover when they're going out to Uniondale.
The mutual aid responses that I mentioned that are listed on the bottom of my report, we went to 7 mutual aid calls for EMS last month, and none of them were Uniondale. They were all.
Maybe I'm understanding this wrong, but I thought that if our units were out on a mutual aid call,
correct,
it affected our response.
It could affect it.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, it does. But as I say, that's a relatively small percentage. When you're looking at 800 calls a year, the number of times that second call in district occurs when a unit is on a mutual aid call, it's not vanishingly rare, but it's unusual. So.
Thank you.
So, Joe, I was happy to see that because I had some anecdotal responses about, hey, response times have gotten worse. I think this data says no, it's pretty much in line. All right. Okay, Officer Witt.
Good evening, everybody. In front of you have the monthly report for March of this year. Like Chief Bonus says, it looked a little bit low for March, which is okay by us. 79 total reported incidents, 4 traffic tickets, 9 parking tickets, 1 traffic complaint, 2 road hazards, and 2 disabled vehicles. We assisted other agencies, state police 3 times, sheriff's office 3 times, probation and the mobile crisis team once each, fire department once, and EMS 9 times. Did 4 town of Washington court details, and we assisted with the escort for the the returning champions girls basketball team
Nice.
is the school district assist there. For police activity, we had 1 arrest, 3 domestics, 1 drug complaint, 1 disorderly conduct, 1 trespass, and 1 order of protection issued. Public service, we had 2 suspicious activities, 1 unattended death, 2 burglar alarms, 1 lockout, 1 missing child who was located, 4 property complaints, 3 animal complaints, and 1 911 misdial. Community policing, 1 assisted citizen, 3 property checks where we found unsecured properties, and 21 school checks. We had nothing glaringly out of the ordinary for March. Any questions about that?
Animal complaints. So this is something where
It's either a dog, a deer, a raccoon. I believe I had to dispatch a raccoon in the month of March.
dispatch.
Yeah.
How nicely placed.
Correct. I believe we had 1. I believe it was a dog complaint and something else.
So Tony Bonus isn't called as the animal control officer?
He is, but we're usually first on scene because
Okay,
we're
fine.
we're
He's right
available. So there is some duplicate reports. He probably will give a report that says he had 2 dog complaints,
Okay.
and they do match up, but we are there.
All right. Any questions for Officer Witt's report? Let's talk about the speed sign.
Let's talk about the speed sign.
Okay.
Well,
let me just tell the board. We initially had this proposal for $5,000, which we're going to take from the H&L fund, not out of the budget, but out of this reserve we've got, just to buy 2 of these mobile speed signs. And the guys stiffed us. And I'm coming to the realization maybe he stiffed us because the prices went up. So I went online to find another source, and it's the same kind of speed sign. It's for $5,000 for 1. So I asked Officer Witt to look into that. So what do you think?
So that being said, our GoDaddy email system that we use for the village, the village@millbrookny.com, has switched over to a Microsoft Office, and I can only see the last 8 emails in my inbox. So I was unable to find that email to review it.
That's even better than the dog ate my homework story.
I know.
I write that one down.
I inquired with Nicole this morning on how to get that figured out, but she was buried in bills, and so between Nicole and probably Officer Aloisio will.
How about this? I'll reissue it to you.
But let me know so that I can be there to open it, because I can literally only see 7 or 8 of the last emails in my inbox.
You mean even now?
Correct. I'm not technologically advanced, so I'm trying to figure out how to. I click inbox and I can only see the last 7 emails that came in. And this came to a surprise to me.
A function that many people would like to have.
Right.
Right.
Now, apparently, it literally switched over 15 minutes before I started my shift this morning. There's one. It's moved to Microsoft Office at 7:15 this morning.
Let's do this. Tomorrow I'll hook up with you. We'll just go through it.
I'm not in tomorrow, but Friday.
Oh, okay. Friday? Okay, fine.
So there's that.
The dog ate my homework. Okay.
Yeah, I know. Essentially, I feel completely unprepared for that. But if it forms the same functions, I mean, you said you've done some of that research on that. If it performs
Mine
the
doesn't
same.
count. I want you to look at it.
I would suggest moving forward if we look at it comparably, but if it does the same functions.
So I want you to look at it, feel as though you agree with it. Then let's bring it back to the board, because the board approved, the 2 for 5,000.
Yeah, 2 for 5.
So now we
instead
come
of,
back and
1
say,
for
how
5.
about 1 for 5? So let's table it until we can review it and bring it back next month.
All right. The only other thing I have to kind of bring up is 7K251 is aging and is incurring more repairs lately than I believe we've expected. I know, and here we have a bill for, I think we ended up having $1,100 worth of repairs done to the older of the 2 police cars. It's 7 years old this year. We got it, it's a 2016, but we got it in 2015, so 6.5 years old. I did spend some time talking with Harry from Harry's Garage, who does a majority of our repairs, and he did suggest that we bring them in more regularly for preventative maintenance, which which I'm going to work with Officer Aloisio on because she's good about staying on top of that stuff.
All right.
But he did suggest that our oil changes need to be done based on hours and not miles.
Miles, okay.
So for us, it's going to increase us from 4 oil changes a year to like 6 or 7, which doesn't sound like a lot, but they're $130 a piece because of the synthetic oil. So, and of course, you know, I've had this conversation as the budget was already set.
Okay.
But I think we can, you know,
So
we'll
you
make
gotta,
it
you gotta
work.
do what you can to extend the life of this
Correct.
vehicle.
But I do just want to bring to attention that it is aging, and
Okay.
just so you know.
Point made.
That's it. That's all I really have.
What about Bill Ritchie, our new officer?
He's available to start the last week of April, so the 25th.
Okay. Very good.
I was actually just on the phone with him again this afternoon. So all of his equipment's in. We were able to, well, not we, the guys from Integram Training were able to secure a grant for $600 from the Friends of the NRA.
Okay.
So that will be able to purchase us essentially a gun and a half, a duty pistol and a half. A duty pistol runs right around $400 through the municipal pricing, the state bid.
All right.
So we'll end up spending $200, but have 2 duty pistols.
Great. Good deal.
So we're waiting to hear back on ammunition purchases to do the qualifications before the end of the fiscal year. Everything is back ordered. So
How many of you haven't gone to training, fire training?
I believe 2 of us.
2? Okay. Bill Ritchie, has he had his, or
He's had his for the year, yes.
Okay, fine.
But we'll be able to. Everybody's gonna go in May.
Okay.
We're gonna do it on a Saturday. We'll be doing it at Washington Hollow Gun Club.
Right,
So the duty car will be able to join us. They may have a
call.
slight.
Sure.
Yeah, they'll have a slightly longer response time by 2 minutes or 3, but they'll be able to
Right.
join us, and we'll be able to get it all done at once
Good.
instead of two separate training
Very
days.
good. How was the Passion Sunday patrol?
I forgot it. Well, that's this month, so it's for next month. But the
Oh.
the Passover parade walk with
Yeah.
the 3 churches went uneventfully. Officer Del Judas did that. I was in to assist with the Millbrook Marathon like we did last year. I assisted the state police and the sheriff's office. I believe there's 1 medical call in it, but other than
Yeah, I
that,
saw that.
it was uneventful.
Oh, good. All right. Any other questions for Officer Witt? Okay, good. Thanks. Scott? This is the pain with this thing keeping the... Oh, I'm sorry, Bob, yes. I own my agenda, I'm sorry. Hang on. I'm used to this keyboard. Okay, Bob.
Ready, steady?
Yes.
Okay, for the month of March, April, we began brush removal, and that's ongoing through May 31st. Repaired catch basins on Washington Avenue, Church Street and Alden, which you can see on the
You want to
photos.
go to the photos?
That first set, obviously the before and after. That catch basin gets hammered by the buses and trucks that cut that corner really sharp, so it did sink down, so we had to rebuild it. And
Oh, you're right at the corner of Church and all the right.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. Now I know what you're talking about.
a catch basin on Reservoir, and then the photos next to that is the alley next to the funeral home. Now that catch basin is not the village's, but there, as you can see, there was a hole there that was in imminent danger, and it was right down through, so we just jumped in there and patched it up. The owners of the property are aware that that catch basin is sinking, and you can see the cracks kind of
Oh, yeah.
next to the thing. So they will be hopefully taking care of
So
that.
where's that at? So it's
Right in the alleyway,
the alleyway right by the funeral home?
alongside the funeral home.
Okay. Where the concrete meets the,
Yeah, that's their catch basin.
Okay,
But
all right.
like I said, I didn't want to leave that open.
yep, good, thanks.
Developed, there was a frost heave on Merritt Avenue that we dug out and filled. We're just waiting right now for the blacktop plant to open so that we can finish. We'll have to dig some out and then pave around it. Repaired potholes this week using an entire pallet of coal patch, which is
Really?
66 bags throughout the village. And you probably noticed them everywhere. The Conic is a war zone there.
Right.
But it's just they frost heaves bring it up and then the plows open them up. So we had an unusual winter with so many different defrosts and freezes, and it just kept working against us. We replaced a broken manhole cover on Russell Knowles. We removed 2 of the 3 sanders from the dump trucks.
Okay.
We removed an abandoned telephone pole and filled in the hole. It was a pole that just didn't have any wires or anything.
Where's that at?
On the corner of Hayden.
Oh, up to about where the big tree was?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Put up the nets at the tennis courts. Repaired a leader off of the gutter on our salt shed that had blown down. We also repaired the 2 major doors on the salt shed, putting new secure handles and locks on them. We came in early for some flooding and storm damage this past week. And for mid-March, we had a mid-March snow event and salting, which brought us to 19 snow and/or ice events for the year, which is extremely high comparatively. Last year, I believe we had 15. The year before that, 10. The year before that, 16. So this was unusually high. But again, it was because of the ice.
Yeah.
We came in so many times, and our salt budget reflects that, unfortunately.
Yeah, we got a big bill in the invoices for this month. Yeah.
Now, also, if you go to, this isn't on the list, but I think the pictures are on a different spot. Oh, you got them. Okay.
Here's the down in Linden.
We got a call on flooding on 9 partners, and the right-hand pictures is a picture of a catch basin that was literally buried under grass on a homeowner's property, and it was the cause of the water coming up and flooding some yards and things like that. So we found it, we opened it up, and it was indeed filled. So we found it's most likely was put in by the homeowner because it's a round catch basin which we don't ever install. So it looks like it was put in by the homeowner to accommodate 2 drains from their house. And in doing that, they cut our lines, put this catch basin in, and reattached our lines. So, but this was years, and this is probably 30, 40 years ago.
So that's these 3 pictures to the right. This is Jim Kennedy's property.
property.
Used to be
It
Jim
looks
Kennedy.
square, but what that catch basin, what it's sitting on is a round catch basin.
And then what happened was Walter Cadet called to say, hey, why is this water, standing in my yard? The reason is because this thing was plugged up. Water was going over the surface from Jim Kennedy's lot down to Walter's next door. So by identifying this, by the way, this catch basin was underground, right? You had to
Pretty much, yeah.
You had to dig the turf out by about 4 or 5 inches just to get to the top of this thing.
And
So it was all
we
covered.
discovered, you can see the 2 little white in the middle picture. Those are
these
pipes
things
coming
here.
out of his house, which really shouldn't be there, but that's why that was put in there. And there is a drain from further up the street that when we pulled all the dirt out it just emptied the pipe.
Over here, yeah.
And Scott, I want to thank Scott for assisting us on keeping the water out of there because it was, filling up. We couldn't.
By the time you took me out there for a tour, by that time
Yeah.
it was flowing up to the top again.
So the pipe that leads out is
Over here.
so badly plugged that we have to get a company in that can flush it out. So it will continue to fill until we do that. But the hard part was done. It's now we can get to it. That's the
Yeah, good diagnostic work. Yeah, quick response to the customer.
We couldn't figure it out. We were like, why is it there? But that's what happened. They moved the pipe, cut it, and then put it on each side, and then ran the two little pipes into it. But again, who knows when? A round catch, you don't see too many round concrete catch basins anymore.
All right, and this thing over here, this is back on.
Well, that's the corner of Linden Lane, going to the dead end.
I think Mike Murphy's house is like right over here.
Yeah.
So this is going around that way.
What that is there's a home right next to it that has, again, a sump pump that we watched even today when there was no rain. It was pouring, just pouring out of there. Mayor and I saw it. And it filled that up. So there's really nothing we can do other than I'm going to ask Ken to talk to them about the fact that it is creating quite a hazard and they need to figure out something else, either a dry well or reroute it to a stream that's on the other side of the house, which really that's the way it should have been done. Normally, it's not a big problem because it's set way back, but the ground is so saturated right now. So if any of you have water sitting in you, it's because it can't take anymore. It's sitting there because there's no place for it to go because the ground's so saturated. And that's the problem. That's the problem here. So hopefully that we'll get that dry and try and we'll have to just talk to them about it. We have a couple situations like that in different places where
Is that right?
Where some pumps are just filling, they're coming out, filling the road, going down to somebody else's house. And so I've had a few complaints, but we can't do a heck of a lot unless there is some ordinance that we can work with. So I'm going to have Ken look into that.
I guess we could always have them put the sump pump into the sewer system. That would work.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'm just kidding.
It actually would have been better if it went into a.
No, it wouldn't.
It wouldn't, but not into the sewer. No, not into the sewer, but into the storm drain. But
I'm sorry for you suggesting that. That's
no, you don't do that.
It's been a rough few days.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so that's the story with that.
All right,
so,
good.
It's just the way it is right now, and we're supposed to get rain tomorrow, so a storm tomorrow. Lastly, Tim and I went and took a look at the tennis court, and I guess we're going to be putting up the new backboards. I don't know whose expense that is, whether it's from the fund or.
Actually, I asked Peter Doro, and I asked him to be our focal point for the tennis courts. So I do want to ask him how much money is left over after resurfacing for such things. They were talking about getting some benches and things like that, so I want to do this first.
It looks like the cost for us to put that up is going to be between $1,000 and $1,200.
$1,200, okay.
With the price of plywood.
That's for both boards?
Yeah, that would, I think.
Okay.
So we're somewhere in there, depending on the grade of plywood that we use, but it's easier than replacing, better than replacing.
Yeah, and you're just going to put those on top of what's already there?
Right on top of it.
Yeah, okay, good.
Structurally, it's not bad. There's just some holes in them.
How far down to the coast? I don't want to go to the ground. How close can you get to the ground with the wood that you already estimated?
Where it is now.
I'm sorry?
Right where it is now.
So can't go any lower?
No.
Okay.
To go with a 4x10 piece of plywood is going to be very expensive.
That sounds, yeah.
And as it was, they're 10 feet from top to bottom.
Oh, is that right? So it's additional 2 feet
they've
below.
got 8 feet, and then they pieced in the bottoms. That's where a couple extra pieces of plywood come in, so.
Okay. I'd like to be able to get rid of that, the mesh fencing
Yeah.
back there. Talked to Mindy. She's interested in actually replacing the backboards with fence. I said, let's do the front plan, which is to resurface the courts, refinish the backboards, and then once that's done, we can talk about an additional fundraising thing, because she says she needs more money. I don't want to even consider that for this year. Let's do what we already planned to do for this year. We can talk about further improvements next year.
One of the things we couldn't have in the, this year because of the budget situation, but I think we have to start thinking about having a reserve fund for the tennis courts. A minimum amount, talking about between $2,500 and $5,000 a year that goes into that reserve, specifically because we know that according to people who have talked about us, talked to us about improvements, you can expect cracks back in that courting as early as like 5 years from now, which means that not major improvements, but if you don't keep up with it, then you end up with a worse situation. So.
All right, so let's talk about it at the next budget. I'm not in the game for $5,000 a year, but we can talk about something.
Yeah, and there are places.
Conceptually, I think you're right.
Yeah.
We should be thinking about having some kind of a fund set up.
Yeah, and right now there are places where we obviously need to replace fencing or at least make improvements so that you don't have the space between, where it's curved out.
Mm-hmm.
Some of that can be fixed with just some repairs, but some may need to be replaced, and that's,
Yeah.
part of the upkeeps.
But again, plan A is resurface the court,
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
fix the backboards, and then we'll talk about the stages after that.
Yeah, no.
So should we start our budget folder for 23-24?
No. I'm hoping Mike forgets this discussion between now and the next budget.
Not a chance.
Okay, Bob, anything else?
The only other thing is, we do have, I know we're gonna have a problem with some people who are doing land clearing. And I'm pretty much telling them, it's been reported in every piece of mail and video, everything that we have to do it. And some places are just ignoring it. So I'm letting people know that there will be a charge.
Good.
Depending on the size, because I already see 2 of them coming. So.
All right, fine. Well, I've already authored a letter to give you copies of to give to them.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to send them out so it's very clear. One I know is coming out. It's been 3 years worth of land clearing.
The problem is, if we do a favor for somebody, then the word gets around, and before you know, we're out of control. So that's why we can't make any exceptions here. That's why, if he sees it, I want him to post a letter or give the letter to the person as a front-up notice, so they know beforehand that if we have to have it taken away, we're going to charge you for it. You can take it away yourself. If we have to take it away, there's going to be a charge.
And Sarah and Nicole found some other municipalities' guidelines, and we actually formed that letter on some of their guidelines. And they're no nonsense. This is the way it is. It's a service that we're giving you. You need to abide by it. And, they don't want to. They're not playing around. That's the way it's going to be.
And I just make the point. I'd like to make sure that those rates are competitive rates for what it would cost them to do it privately with someone else.
That's good. Yeah, it's a good point.
You're right. Because if it's too cheap, if it's cheaper,
if it's really cheap, and they decide that they want to do some clearing, and they find out that we got the best deal in town, we don't need the business, and we don't want the business.
Oh no, I've already had a woman that I told her, I said, well, it'll be charged accordingly. I told you last year we can't. You're taking trees down. That's not what this is for.
Well, no, but I think what Mike is saying is, if you see a situation,
that's what
you call Ralph Savoy and say, Ralph, what would you charge to take that away? And you say that's double the price.
So when I told her that, I said we would have to charge you, and her question was, oh, how much?
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, that's that might be a good deal.
That's a good point, Mike. Yeah.
So, well, no, we're not. That's not all. Or I said to her, that's not our point. We're not trying to make money on you. We don't want you to do it. That's the bottom line. So it would be according. That's all I told her. I said we would charge you accordingly.
So can you back up a second? So these are people who think that this is brush?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, this has been going. you know.
I think they know what they're doing.
They
I
know.
think they know that it's outside the realm of what we accept as reasonable, disposal, and they just push the envelope.
There is a pile of brush right now that somebody took off of somebody else's property because they didn't like looking at it across the street. So they actually trespassed.
It's under a different program of
Yeah,
ours.
they actually
No.
trespassed and cut this person's brush and pulled it out onto the street.
Now, just for the record, these are relatively, rare situations.
Yeah, it doesn't happen,
But
but I
the
mean,
point is you have to
that's,
take care of each
the
one.
boldness, how,
Yeah, okay.
I don't like your tree, I'm gonna cut it down. That's basically what they're saying, and the poor person didn't even know it. Because I asked them, I said, did you do it? No, and we not know what happened, but, yeah, they just think it's,
One other thing I got for you is Kevin asked if we could repaint the 10-minute temporary spaces, or the 10-minute spaces, in front of, or by the side of the deli and up in front of the pizza place.
the pizza place?
Yeah,
Okay.
Julian's.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any problem with the board with us doing it? This was something we offered to do last year just to help business. And the business owners have told Kevin they'd really like to see it continued. Any problem with that?
I don't have a problem.
Bob, any problem with that?
No, we can pay.
Okay, fine. All right. They claim it's been helpful to them, and if it's helping the business, I think we should do it. All right. Okay, good, thanks. Any other questions for Bob?
Yeah, just a couple of things. Just first, Mike Flanagan at the Weird Briggs gave a price, he's redoing this parking lot, and I guess it's a pothole that's on Franklin Avenue, which is technically not ours, it's the state, and yet he's like, I don't wanna overstep, if you ask Bob to come take a look and make sure that we can do something, he said, I'm happy to let people who are doing the paving fill in the hole, or.
It's on the other side of the sidewalk?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
So he's kind of like, what do I do, because the pothole and it's right by where I'm gonna be paving, so do I stop paving right at the
Well, that's-
location on Franklin Avenue? Or do I have to, call the state and badger them for like weeks?
I'm sorry, so Mike, you're saying that,
He wants us to do him a favor, that's,
No,
He wants to do it himself.
Oh, he wants to do it himself? Oh.
but he's.
He doesn't need, yeah,
this is in the street?
Yeah.
In the street?
Yeah, he wants some guidance.
I'll talk to him, but it's,
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's, he can, if he wants to do that, I don't, no, the state's not, the state only gets mad when we do it.
Well, that's.
It's true.
Okay,
But, yeah, no, I'll talk to him tomorrow, this should be.
Yeah.
okay, good.
And the conversation I had with Mike, he brought up the fact that his insurance adjuster came in to look at the premises and whatever, and went out to the front of his store and looked at the tree with the bricks area that were like this, and a sidewalk that sloped like that, and got all worked up and said, that's a problem. He said, you could get sued. And he said, if someone takes a fall, then you could get sued. So Mike was like, it's not technically my sidewalk, I mean, it's, so he said, just pass along to the board that, the sidewalk needs to be done, and I then filled him in on, here's what we're doing. Hopefully, you want to start with phase one, the phase one is across the street, it's not you.
Which is even worse than what he's looking at.
Yeah, so, so I filled him in, but that's,
Okay.
it's just,
We can only do so much.
right, it's point of information.
All right, good.
Store owners are now being told by the insurance agents they've got bad situations.
We could have been telling that for the past 10 years. Okay, anything else for Bob? Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, Scott, now Scott.
You sure?
I think so.
All right. We'll start with the water for March. We produced 5,191,994 gallons. Average daily flow is 167,500 gallons. Performed all maintenance and sampling. We shut off the water at 22 Front Street so the plumber could repair a leak inside the building. We read all the water meters and scheduled to start flushing on Monday, which is I did send out
Yeah.
notice. Hopefully everybody got that.
Yeah.
Now with work going down at the college, I'm not quite sure if I'm going to end up flushing South Millbrook. Because they're using a lot of water down there, and I'm afraid if I flush down there, they'll have no water. So
Oh, okay.
we'll see. I won't be down there till Thursday or Friday, so next week. So we'll see.
We're pretty much wrapping up the water use supply, right? I mean, the building's pretty much down.
Yeah, they're still shooting water
Yeah,
everywhere.
all right. Okay.
So we'll see where that is. But that being said, that's only a small amount. We can always do that the following. The rest of the village will be done.
Yeah, okay, sure.
I just don't know, once you get, because when I've gotten down there in the past without them using the water, the pressure drops. So
Okay.
them using the water like they are, I'd be afraid that
Yeah, sure.
they'll have no water.
All right, good.
And we don't want to run people out of water. So.
All right, any questions about the water report?
Just quickly, I know it's not significant, it's not a lot, but I know that based on last year, we had a slight increase in water production. We're not looking at more leaks or something else.
Well, we've had some, and they're using quite a bit of water down at college, so. I don't remember, we just did the readings, but it was significant, like hundreds of thousands of gallons, so. And we had a leak on my partners in February. We had one before that. I keep track of all that, I don't have it with me, but that's.
Where are you
what I
seeing the
think.
increase, Mike?
It's year over year, in other words,
Oh.
this March compared to last March.
March. Okay,
February
all right.
Compared to last February, et cetera, et cetera.
Hmm.
And it's just, it's not a lot, it's just
Okay.
a slight trend higher for these 3 months than the last 3 months of 21.
Yeah, okay.
Water usage though has March compared to this March compared to this February and January it's dropped significantly, although I expect.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, I mean we averaged 180 and 184 February and January. This March we averaged 167. So.
Okay.
Slow time for everyone.
All right. Okay, sewer?
All right. All right. For March, total effluent flow is 5,202,132 gallons. Average daily flow is 167,800 gallons. Precipitation 3.9 inches. Performed all maintenance and sampling. Earth Care hauled sludge. Kinsley Power made the repairs to the generator that they gave us a quote for, except they could not repair the controls. They didn't want to get into it because of the age, and they were afraid that it something to do with the wiring, that if they did something and it wouldn't work, then we wouldn't have a generator. So I said, that's fine. But that just brings us back to the fact that we need to deal with that at some point.
Okay. So what does it mean? So you can still operate the generator?
Yeah. The repairs they made were just little things like hoses and stuff, but there's a control issue where it goes into alarm after it runs every Wednesday,
Mm-hmm.
and they were gonna try to repair that. But when the tech got there and pulled everything apart, because of the age of it, he was a little leery of doing it and then not being able to get it back running. They didn't want to leave us without a generator.
Yeah, sure.
Which I appreciate.
Okay, good.
But that brings, so if something does happen, we have to repair it, then that's going to be a cost. We've discussed that before.
Yeah.
So that's why we want to get the engineering done so we can look at the possibility of replacing that generator within like next year.
Mm-hmm. So if it did break, could they replace the whole control panel or not?
They're not sure.
They're not
because
sure.
They have because of the age.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That and it's going to be costly more than likely. So,
Oh, sure. Okay.
I'm hoping we don't get that far.
All right.
And the last thing was we had the flow meters calibrated.
Good. So with all the rain we've been having, I'm surprised you're only showing 3.9 inches in
That
March.
was March. We've had 3.4 so far.
Oh, is that right? Okay. So what's going on in the sewer plant now with all this water coming down the hill?
It's coming in, I'd like to know where all the water's coming from, honestly,
Yeah,
because it's bad.
is that right?
Yeah. Estimated on, when we had the rain Friday, that we did almost 700,000 gallons. Yeah,
Are you still in compliance?
yes.
I mean, I'm just asking.
No, yeah,
I'm not-
we are.
I'm not judging.
No.
I'm
Yeah,
just
we are.
saying that, I know we've had a couple of days when.
Yeah, well, we're allowed to discharge to our,
Yeah.
after we do 250, which is our permit. So,
250 is a rate per day.
yeah, but we can push through the plant when things are running well, which they are, about 320 plus. So that means we'll discharge probably 280 or 290,000, something like that.
Wow.
And it just stopped today. So from last Friday to today, we've been discharging out of that.
Wow.
It's been steadily going down.
We're going down, yeah.
Every day, but
All right.
I was in both days this weekend because we're required to sample every day.
Well,
So,
required to sample when you have to use the RF?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So we had all that added cost, but we should have plenty in the labs.
Okay.
But yeah, the flows they're insane.
Oh,
I don't know where all the water's coming from, but it's clear water too.
It's clear water.
I mean, I had two 10 horsepower pumps running and it couldn't keep up. So,
I mean,
I suspect, again, we've gone through this many times over the years, but I suspect it's some
some pumps, yeah.
because it lasts so long.
Mhm.
I mean, the rain stopped. I don't know when it stopped. Friday morning, something like that. And then, we got hammered all day Friday. We were dealing with it, and
I mean, what else could it be other than?
well, I mean, if it's an initial surge and it goes down relatively quickly,
Mhm.
then it could be roof leaders. It could, but
Oh, okay.
I believe there's probably still some of that in there. And I'm sure some of it's probably infiltration because I know of some issues with pipes and it being the ground saturated. But that surge and that amount of water that continues, I mean, we've been doing well over 300,000 gallons a day since that day. Today was 316.
All right.
I mean, it's slowly going down, but we're still pushing 200 and something gallons a minute through the plant.
Wow.
And we were doing like 800. Yeah, I mean, insane.
All right.
Literally everything was maxed out and we were pushing as much through the plant as possible. So I don't know, again, something we've talked about over the years about doing sump pumps. It's in the code, but it's never enforced.
How do you
No one
enforce it? You gotta go in and,
Yeah.
Yep.
Have you done the smoke test?
Yeah.
And
It's been.
You kind of know where it's coming from?
Yeah, that was probably, I think it was 2009.
Yeah, 2009.
All right.
So it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's something we should probably revisit.
Yeah. Work with the building department
So cell phones are allowed?
together.
No.
they're not supposed to go into
Not to
the
put
sewer
it
system.
into the sewer system.
Oh, who would do that?
It's very common,
it's-
especially for
It's
Yeah.
too easy. is the
I
problem.
think it
The
maybe
age-
some education too, because maybe there are some people that don't know.
I'm sure there are.
No, I mean, there are people that bought a house and it was set up.
The house I just bought was that way.
That's what I mean,
Yeah.
so maybe.
The problem is, once they know it, then they have to take the time and expense to go and fix it.
Right.
It's not
And
easy.
the other issue with that is, okay, so if you don't allow them to put it in the sewer, where can they put it?
Yeah.
If they start putting it on their lawn, then it gets into the road, then it creates another problem, as we've
Mhm.
seen. So, there's a lot of things that have to be.
Yeah, sure.
The easiest thing to do is to put it down the sewer, because out of sight, out of mind. But then
Right.
we end up with disease problems.
Right.
And we have that extra capacity that we're allowed to discharge, but as we know, at some point the state's going to tell us we can't have that anymore, which is why we're doing the
Right.
engineering and everything for the upgrade. I don't know what the plan would be, but the water's not going anywhere. And you know, it costs so much money. You can't fix all the pipes at once. It's just, you know, everything's aging. We're pushing 90 years on the system, a lot of it anyway. You know, we fixed a lot, but there's still more to be done. Even if you fixed all the sewer mains, I think you'd still have a problem. So I think the biggest issue is the sump pumps.
Yeah, okay. I'll make a note at the next newsletter.
Yeah.
But we've done this before.
Yeah, I mean,
we've
we
done it with
did.
the water bills.
I forgot what year we put out a survey.
Yeah.
I don't know, 2012 maybe.
Yeah. Tell them there's a fine for it.
Well, the problem with the fine is how do you go?
How do you pay if someone walk in?
You know,
See,
Tell them there's a water police on the prowl or something.
now what,
but it's
what happens-
enforcement is the problem.
I know.
what happens is, we discussed this beaten to death, maybe not recently, but a long time ago, is that technically, and Ian, please correct me if I'm wrong, that if Ken went to the front door and said, we think that you've got this attached to your sewer pipe downstairs, I wanna come look at it, they can say, you're not walking in the front door.
Right.
You can't walk in the front door and inspect.
So what if
So-
you try and catch it when like when people are buying and selling houses at that point?
I made that suggestion 5 years ago. I said if we put something in the code that said that that before someone can get a CO, that they would have to have an inspection by Ken. But the problem is with the housing market being so hot at times, he wouldn't be a 1 day a week
I know, but
person.
this would be the time to kind of catch a
Mhm.
lot of them. It'd be with a lot of, buying and selling going on.
Yeah, no, I'd love to do that. 'Cause that's nice. The ability to get in somebody's house would have to be, predicated on you can't get a CO to go through a set bill of sale to a closing until you have.
Well, this is a bad time to have this conversation because we just updated the code last month. Right. But what you're talking about is reopening the code to specify this is a requirement.
Well, I mean,
No, I don't
it's
think
in,
No.
It's in the code.
it's in the code.
Oh, it is in
that
the
you
code.
can't have a sump pump. Yeah.
Ah,
The issue is enforcement. You could
oh,
change your policy and
all right.
when
We
you do
haven't
the.
done the building, we haven't done the building code yet, right? So it's really there you're talking about the change.
No, when we put, it's in the provision for sewer.
Right.
When we amended that, there's a provision in there that says that your sump pump can't discharge into the sewer system. It's a question of enforcement, and what Mike said is correct, that we all property owners have a Fourth Amendment, right? You can't just go to somebody's house and search it.
Mhm.
You can ask them to consent, but they can say no.
No, I was just saying, when we review the building code, we can discuss doing an enforcement mechanism there.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's,
I'm not saying we
Yeah.
should, but
Right.
I think he's saying we don't need to do it in the code. You're saying enforcement can be separate, a separate policy we put in place. And the question, I think the proposal is, as part of any CO issue,
Yeah, like a
or
checkup,
any change
like a
of,
checkup.
any change of ownership, we could require that inspection.
well, when you have somebody selling their property,
Yeah.
typically there's a municipal search
Mhm.
that's requested from the village. And, I don't know what the village of Millbrook does. Some municipalities will do an inspection at that time. They go out to the house, they compare
Mhm.
the records that you have in the building department to what's on the property. And typically they want to go inside and make sure you've got the requisite smoke and CO detectors.
Okay.
And that would be and that you could add that to the list of things
All right.
to check.
Now, right now, we don't do any kind of those inspections, right? As part of
Only if it's a kind
transfer
of
of title.
Well, no, only if it's a kind of mortgage where the lender is saying we want an inspection for, let's say, for a veteran's loan or something like that, but they're going through a specific company that says you have to have certain things that go to code. got that, and they can't get their funding unless they have an inspection.
A lot of the times they'll, when we get a municipal search, they'll send the certificates with them,
Was that right?
like
Okay.
the smoke and all that. So
Right.
it's kind of like covered. So it might not necessarily need an inspection.
Huh. But they don't look for things like this, though.
No.
There's no reason why they would look for something like this.
No.
Look, I'll talk to Ken and see what they do in other municipalities. Maybe
In
something we can just-
Unionville, because I sold a house recently in Unionville, and before I could sell it, they reviewed all the code requirements. And in fact, my septic tank wasn't up to code. I
Okay.
had to fix it or else I couldn't sell it.
Hmm.
So they have some authority somewhere to do that, right?
Correct. And, you know, I can look in the, if there's anything in the building code. The enforcement issue, there's already the authority to enforce the provisions of the code. The issue is how you do the
How you do it,
inspection, how you determine that somebody is in violation. So I don't know whether there's something in your building code that provides for that. My experience is a lot of municipalities have been doing the inspections. Things changed with COVID, but it seemed like after 2008, after the recession, most municipalities were doing an inspection as part of their municipal report that they provide for real estate transactions, transfers.
Let me talk to Ken and
So,
see what he does.
Yeah, I don't know
elsewhere, see if we
exactly
can't
where
do
the
something.
authority
It's
is
a good idea.
to do that, other than purchasers asking for that report, so there's an implied consent to
Because when we
do
bought
that
the house,
inspection.
we didn't have to do it.
Oh, is that right?
Again,
So,
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
my experience that things changed in 2008. Can debate why that is. I think there was an effort to increase revenue. So what, again, my experience I saw happening is building inspectors were doing these inspections and seeing that there were improvements to the property that had been made but not reported to the municipality. And so, one, there's a violation, and then two, the assessed value of the property can change based on, you know, if they put a swimming pool or added a porch, things like that.
I want to move on here. I want to talk about the adjustment proposal. So we had a couple of situations where a leak was found in a residence who was in an apartment. And VRI has requested that we consider an adjustment to the bill. So want to talk to us about that?
Yeah. First of all, the one on Alden, that one's, I think, been resolved.
Oh.
Well, the leak, I think, was somewhere else, not what we were told was in the basement.
Oh, is that right?
So
Okay.
now he's looking for other meters. So that's,
Right, so we're talking about one incident then?
Yeah, so the one incident will be the one down on North Avenue.
Yeah.
That the leak was fixed, I believe, in February. That was the one we mentioned. They had the apartment complex. The leak was outside, but the meter's in a pit, so the water went through the water meter. Their bill was, their usage was 766,000 gallons of water. So prior to the leak, when they got their first bill from December, is when this was initiated. I did a reading on the 20th of January, and then again on the 9th when the leak was fixed. And in that period of time, so the 20th to the 9th, they used, actually no, it would be from the, reading in December to February 9th, they used 706,000 gallons of water. So then from the leak was fixed the 9th, from the 9th to the 15th, they only used 60,000. So basically what I was trying to do is, I try to keep track of the leaks myself So since it was metered, I was reading it so I get a better idea of what's leaking. Then we went back to read to see what their actual usage was after the leak was fixed. So there, the leak was significant. It wasn't going down the sewer; it was outside. So their normal usage, if you just use the numbers that I had, I estimated at 108,000 gallons for the quarter, not 766.
Yeah, so when I got your note, I went and cranked the numbers. So the bill for 766,000 gallons would be $12,065. And with the reduction you're recommending, which was to bill for the total water use,
Correct.
but prorate the sewer based on what the historical usage has been, that would reduce it by 50% to $6,100. And so the question, so as I said, I had gotten a call from Scott Kale a while ago and said, no, we can't make any exceptions. Now you come back and say, well, should we? So the question to the board is, do we want to set a precedent? And so the only consideration I can think of is one in which, if it is a leak, we know it doesn't go to the sewer system, and the owner has done everything possible to fix it as soon as they found out about it, does that warrant us making some consideration versus the standard rates?
I would also add that, just so we don't open up a Pandora's box here,
Which is
people
important.
will say, oh, I know it didn't go down the sewer. Well, I know it didn't because I physically saw it.
Yeah.
Okay? When it happens inside a house, people can, if we don't have any data or can't
Right.
see it, then I don't think, you can say, oh yeah, okay, fine.
I also want to distinguish situations like this, which is an accident that occurred versus someone who wants to, knowingly use water for like at the college where they're going to spray
Right.
this water curtain. They know it's not going in the sewer, but they've preemptively said, I'm accepting this charge as part of doing business. Same way for someone who's going to fill their swimming pool with water and you say, well, it doesn't go in the sewer. Well, you preemptively decided that you're going to use our water as opposed to ordering a tanker to come by. And so in that case, you should be billed for the full amount. So the question again to the board is, does this warrant an exception, a precedent in this situation here? Thoughts? No?
No, I don't have any thoughts on it.
I'm sorry?
I don't have any thoughts on it.
Oh, no thoughts on it. Mike?
I've been giving it some thought, because I knew about this situation. I'm a little leery only because over the years, we've had a lot of requests from people who water their lawns, who fill up the pool, who do all these things and say, why should I be paying for water that's not going in the sewer? And, I'm just want to make very sure that if we make any accommodation on the bill, that doesn't open up that kind of discussion.
I agree.
Because, and it's numerous. I mean, we're not talking about one or two people. I mean, dozens of people saying, I water my lawn, why am I paying a sewer charge?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's no way to know how much water you use. Well, let's have Scott come in and do an estimate for you. No, I don't want to go down that road because it's a dry summer and you want your nice big plump tomatoes and that's where the water's going. We go down that. Because, I want to be sensitive to the fact that this was, not something under their control because the leak was there. But
Yeah, not under control, and that they did everything possible to as quickly fix it as possible. And that's also a second condition I think needs to be there. They remedied it as quick as they could.
Yeah, I think it would have been quicker if it wasn't in the middle of winter. Because
Yeah, sure, I
I know when
understand.
we were first all out there, which was end of January, it was bitter cold. So they waited till weather got a little better, like whatever, 10 days later, whatever it was.
Buffy, what do you think?
Well, I think because it was a leak and the homeowner fixed it right away, there should be something set for that. And like you said, you were monitoring it, you know where it was going.
Right.
So it's not the same as someone filling their pool or watering their lawn or something like that.
Mhm.
So
So Mike, I want to go back to your experience having seen a dozen cases like this before. Is there enough of a distinction here that I'll be able to say to the next person who calls, no, here's what we did for this person, here's why we're not doing it for you.
As long as people understand that majority, please, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of the leaks where people have it inside and they're not aware of it until they get the water bill have to do with faulty toilets. They have to do with things that are interior in the house, and they are going in the sewer system because the toilet keeps on running and they don't realize that it's running. So, in a case like that.
That's an easy one.
Yeah,
right?
that's an easy one.
Take an exception for that.
Yeah. So,
in the request for exceptions you heard before, anything other than the swimming pool, the water your lawn, anything other than that?
no, not really. I mean, washing the car, we go through all the examples of people that, use their water for different purposes. Yeah. But, as I said, I want to be sensitive. A $6,000 bill for water you couldn't do anything about it is pretty nasty.
It's a lot, right?
It's a lot.
It's definitely a lot.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's 700,000 gallons is a lot of water.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot.
Even for an apartment building.
Sure.
So that's, some leaks, like Mike's saying, it's, they come in at like an extra 50,000 gallons sometimes, or 20,000. But again, if it's a leaky toilet or a dripping faucet, it all ends up down the sewer.
Right. If it goes down the sewer, there can be no ifs, ands, or buts.
Correct.
If they're doing it knowingly, for something that's a purpose that they decided to do this as opposed to some other alternative, can't be an exception for that.
And
in a case like this where they didn't know about it, they find out about it, and they react quickly, I think it's a legitimate request to consider.
Just one last example on how will we deal with it. Okay, I'm a homeowner, I go to Florida, and I don't turn off my water, and I go ahead, and it turns out when I come back, I've got a swimming pool in my basement because it just keeps on pumping water, and it's not going in the sewer system, but do we do the same thing for them?
My opinion, no, because it's as simple as picking up the phone, calling the village hall or VRI and saying, I'd like my water shut off and I'm going away. People don't do that, but that's, to me, in my opinion, that's their own problem. That's just my opinion. Because what's that?
I didn't know you could do that.
Now, if your water shut off doesn't work, then yours does.
Pretty good.
But yeah, I mean, it's really, I mean, we've done it for, I mean, if it were me, that's what I would do.
Yeah, it does.
Newsletter,
Yeah.
especially for people who are traveling in the winter and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those. Good point.
There's a lot.
With the
It would
water
be
sewer
good
bill.
if they were going to do it, give us a heads up, because there's plenty of shut-offs out there that are inaccessible, so.
Sure.
Instead of in the
it's
middle of
extreme,
January,
exactly.
having to deal with it, if they say, hey, I'm going to Florida in January.
Like a 2-week notice or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or even if it's in the fall and they say, hey, want to check it out, make sure, we do all that stuff. And then we can get it
You can find it.
because the village is responsible for that shut off. So if it doesn't work and we have the shut off, then we're in there in January or whatever trying to fix it.
Yeah.
So we can shut it off.
Okay.
Yeah, and if this turns out to be something that becomes a burden, then we can always say, okay, call a plumber. Okay, this is not, it's a service, but, we're willing to do it. But, if you find yourself in December, going to like 10 houses to shut off water, that's, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
All right, so I'll make a motion to accept Scott's proposal that we adjust that water bill based on the fact that the owner quickly resolved it and that it was not anything he knew about beforehand. Can I get a second to that motion?
Second.
All of you in favor?
Aye.
Aye? Okay. So you go back and do that, right?
Yep. Go on, work on that.
And I think we should just, every exception that comes forward, either if I say no, that's in and if I think it's worthy, then we'll bring it back to the board. I'm not gonna do any of this stuff, behind closed doors. All right? Okay, thanks a lot, Scott.
You're welcome.
Moving on to the snail's pace. Clerk Witt.
Alrighty.
Okay.
March was pretty busy.
Yeah.
As you can see.
Wow.
So I'll read from the top 4 accounts. We have tax account ending March 31st. We have $241,078.59. General fund $539. $304,226. Water fund $58,915.31. And sewer fund $90,307.60. And we've already discussed that you guys got the operating statement.
By the way, another thing about that, of course I don't have it here now, but the operating statement says the tax levy we received is $14,000 under the budget. Why is that?
No, at that point, we probably didn't book what we got back from the county.
Yeah, we only just got that.
Okay.
That's the re-levy to the county.
Fine, so that makes a difference.
So we'll book that and it'll be fine.
Oh, good. All right, great.
Which I did say that we actually did receive that, like, I think end of last week or something, so.
All right.
And we got the second half of the fire contract.
Oh, good. All right.
So we do have those budget adjustments. I don't know if you
Yeah, we'll go through those. That's a separate chart.
want to go. Yeah, I have that on the next page.
Hang on, I got a question here. I thought we were going to show something, the line item for the ARPA fund. The 72,000 plus the 72,000. Or is there going to be a separate line for the retaining wall?
Yes, I just opened the bank account.
Okay.
It hadn't registered in March yet.
All right, fine. So we will have, in future ones, we'll have a listing for the retaining wall.
Yeah, you'll see one for the retaining wall.
And do we need something in the budget to show expenses to go against that, revenues and expenses?
We will.
Okay, fine.
That's one of our things we have to do. We're gonna pull those expenses out of the engineer line item and put them in the capital project.
All right.
Right.
And
Then we gotta set up a due to fund because we gotta pay the general fund back. From the capital.
let me just look at this here, the HNL Trust. You know, there was like 43,000 that started, and now it's only like 42,000. One thing we spent out here so far has been the money for the Christmas ornaments, right?
Correct.
And it was like, I'm going to say 1,600 of the 2,400 available, right? We had planned to use that money, $5,000 for the speed sign.
Correct.
Right, we haven't done that yet.
Nope.
And also $10,500 to pay off the first part of Rich Renia's engineering work.
Correct.
For the sidewalk. So we haven't touched that thing at all, except for the
Correct.
Christmas ones. So that's money we should consider, you know, having available to us if we want to make some other kind of either reductions in other bills or any other ideas that come across us that we want to spend that money for. All right. What?
Window.
Maybe so. Maybe so. All right. What was the other thing I wanted to see here? Oh yeah, here's the fire rescue repair reserve. This is 35,000. 15 of it is going to go to the ambulance, the volunteers repair, whatever line item. What's the thing called?
Right.
Yeah.
The where they're over 12,000.
Yes, right. And the other 20,000 is going to be added to the 14,000 from the budget to make our first payment of 34,000 for the roof.
I think we did the 15, but I think we did everything after April 1st, so it'll be reflected on that.
That's fine.
Right.
Okay. And the I see the water reserve. You moved the money over from the bedrock wall account. It's almost 10,000, right?
Correct.
How much do we owe to this sewer?
I think, what was it, 22?
22.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll do that before the
I did just make that transfer because I was the bank account wasn't available online until
All right,
I had
fine.
to click it over. So you'll see that in the next.
Okay. And Peter isn't here to talk about the tennis courts, but this tennis courts, we haven't reduced the deposit we made.
We had that in our budget adjustment.
Oh, okay, fine. Okay, good.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's part of that. So.
All right, good. You want to finish your words over here on the side?
Sure. So we can review the budget adjustments after
Yep.
this stuff's pretty, and so then we'll officially award the Bank of Millbrook by vote.
Right.
I believe we did that.
We did that already, right?
I don't have a record of
No.
you guys voting for
No,
it.
you didn't. You
We've
just
had a
did the
small
budget.
discussion about it, but
but
All right, so I'll make a motion that we accept the offer for 10 years from the Bank of Millbrook for a $400,000 bud
at
bond
3%.
at 3% interest.
Yep.
Can you get a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, good.
All right, done. Okay, and we've already discussed, we received that, the county made us whole. I do have those website, proposals, I had sent them out, earlier. I don't know, you guys had a chance to look at
Can we
it.
just discuss that now?
Yeah, that's fine.
What's the cost?
Yeah, so with Town Web, it's $32.54.
Mm-hmm.
And then every year after that, it's like, I think it's like $3,100 a year for the website.
Okay.
And then every 3 years, it's included to have a facelift. It comes with like unlimited support. It's user friendly for me to help Nicole because everything's code now, so it's like really hard for her to do, and I would probably break the website if I touched it. It'll be mobile friendly. It'll be better searchable functions on
Have the
there.
trustees seen the outline of how it works?
I did. Well, I don't know if there was a real outline. It just kind of sent a
Oh,
proposal.
it shows you like what's the front page gonna look like.
Yeah, so they have some samples on there too.
All right.
It'll just be way better.
Any questions from the trustees about this idea?
I think we've talked about it.
We have.
for a
Okay.
few meetings, so
Anybody have a problem with it?
Not at all.
Okay. I'd like to use money from this year's budget. Where would the money come from?
yes, that would come from the engineer consultant line.
Oh, okay,
Once we
fine.
pull that out, the retaining wall stuff, there should be enough in that to cover this and the general code.
Okay. So I'll make a motion, we go with this website company that Nicole and Sarah have identified. Can I get a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, good.
All right.
I'm looking forward to this. It's gonna be a big improvement to what we have to do.
Yeah, I think he said it'd be. I don't think it'll even be 3 months before
All right, great.
it'll be launched.
Good.
So there's that. Vicki and I worked on FEMA for the COVID stuff, so we're still compiling that. And
So what's the outlook for that? I thought you guys had it all ready to go.
Well, we had an initial meeting where we scoped out the project, and then while putting the application together, you have to just upload all the vouchers. Then they require us to have a final meeting on our final application before we submit it.
Is that right?
And it should be then given. Yeah.
Okay.
Making you work for it.
They are.
Well, you can look at it either way. It's not competitive. It's just
Okay.
saying, like,
Do
do it,
do it.
and we're gonna hold your hand through it, you're gonna get paid.
Great.
Okay. Is it gonna make the application for the pump station any better going through FEMA? Or is it a totally different cast of characters?
I think you learn things that you can apply to
Okay.
every application
All right.
each time.
Okay, good. Go ahead.
all right, I did file that local law that we had done for the last meeting, and that was accepted. I did do the transfer for the reserve for the fire truck.
All right.
I opened the sewer reserve account, and I did transfer the 22, but again, you'll see that reflected in the next month. Bedrock, we changed that to the water reserve, which is what that money is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just preparing for the tax season. We will be able to re-levy water and sewer this year, so that'll be about 2 years worth of bills.
Okay.
We did add on the bill that people need to like make good on this bill, or they'll be re-levied.
Okay, good.
So we've had actually a few people come in and pay their bill
Alright, good.
totally. So and then just the budget wrap up. That's all I have for treasurer.
All right, good. So the budget's all approved, ready to go. All right, let's talk about budget amendments.
So we have here our list of budget amendments, and basically most of them are just paying the lines back from the reserve, which is why you'll see like those expense lines in red in the operating statement. That should make them black, so that's good. So I don't know if you want me to just read them all, or
Well, I think we just look at it. Any questions about our
yeah,
list?
they're pretty standard.
Yeah. And a lot of stuff is just like, the money we had from the bond for the police car.
Right.
Just move that over.
Yep. The
Um,
chips, tennis courts.
The ambulance, same thing, that's the
Yep.
money that was from the reserve. Chips, that's that thing where we got more money and we spent more money. It's just a pass through. There's the down payment for the tennis court.
Yep.
And the police stuff, that's the stuff where they made money with these extra events that we didn't have budgeted.
Correct.
So we just compensated that, reduced the
Correct.
expenses.
Yeah, so it's a
appropriately.
pass through basically.
Okay, any questions about that? All right, good. We need a motion to accept that?
Yes.
So I'll make a motion to accept these budget amendments. All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
All right, and then we did the bank loan, so that's good.
Bank loan, we decided on the 10-year for 3%. Okay, building department?
All right, building. Building is very, very busy. So we did 15 building permits. No sign permits, although we do have 2 coming to us probably this month. One certificate of occupancy. We didn't have any certificate of compliances, 4 uses, and 4 municipal searches. Total fees collected was $4,485. And I have no updates from planning board. I believe they canceled their last meeting, and I'm still not sure about Tim Kowalski. He will stay there until I figure out what we're doing with him. So.
I mean, he hasn't said one way or the other. I told Andy that I've got a replacement for him if he's interested.
I mean, I guess at some point maybe you should just call it, right?
Should I?
If he's not, I mean, it's been months.
Well, I want Andy to review, to interview
That's what I'm
the guy.
saying. I just,
Yeah.
like, we keep reaching out and he's not
I know.
responsive. If they have a meeting, you don't want to try to catch someone up.
Yeah. Okay.
That's just my opinion, but just let me know what you, let me know what you want to do.
The fees, again, I don't have the operating expense report in front of me, but the fees for the building department, those fees don't seem to be very high given the activity.
I would suggest that we review them at least for the next reorg meeting,
Okay.
and possibly even add a category for like people that have done things after the fact, which a lot of municipalities have.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm just talking about, when you show you've collected $4,500 in fees.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
year to date, I bet you've collected, I don't know, what, 40,000?
I think it's under budget though, isn't it?
It's over what we budgeted for sure, but
so.
again, we had that $5,000 from Bennett
Yeah, right.
that was unexpected.
But I don't see that in the operating expense report, I think. Can you just verify that money's in there?
It's in
There's a revenue?
Yeah.
I think the number I saw this afternoon, which was, I can't pull it up, but I thought it was like a very low number, less than $5,000, I thought.
We'll go through and make sure everything's.
All right, fine.
Everything.
Okay.
Okay.
For sure.
Anything else?
That's all I have for a building.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, so we talked about the new website, Arbor Day proclamation. Okay, so I'm going to put into the record this proclamation for Arbor Day for 2022. Whereas the first Arbor Day was celebrated in 1872 in Nebraska, a special day for planting trees, and has grown to thousands of celebrations in communities across our nation each year. And whereas community partners, families, and friends will be joined together at local Arbor Day ceremonies and have a statewide celebration to recognize the benefits of trees and urban forests. And whereas trees will be planted across the state and showcased in the village of Millbrook, creating a lasting legacy for future generations. And whereas trees improve water quality and quantity, reduce the erosion of precious topsoil, increase property values and economic vitality in business areas, provide shade, cleanse the air, create habitat for wildlife, and add beauty to communities. And whereas trees promote outdoor recreation, which improves human health and well-being, and reduces natural deficit disorder in children by encouraging more activity and connection to the natural world. And whereas all of New York benefits from forestry, which contributes annually to our state's economy and provides employment for more people. Now therefore, I, Tim Colopy, Mayor of the Village of Millbrook, do hereby proclaim April 29, 2022 as Arbor Day in the Village of Millbrook, and encourage our citizens to plant trees, thus leaving a legacy for present and future generations. In witness thereof, I have heretofore set my hand and caused the seal of the Village of Millbrook to be affixed this 9th day of February,
Yeah, we
this
did it for
13th day of April in the year 2022.
Yeah, you actually signed it earlier for the application, so
No,
have things
okay,
like that.
fine, well,
We're just
I'll
making
just do it
it
for today.
super official right now.
Right.
so Mike, you want to discuss what the plans are for Arbor Day?
Yeah, I met with the principal at Elm Drive, Mike Sotero, and in conjunction with the Shade Tree Commission, we had a meeting on the 30th of March and talked about plantings and the like. We had previously looked at Elm Drive, spot on Elm Drive to be able to put in a tree for Arbor Day celebration. And the principal at the school is excited, said that would be great. I told him that, since the school board is meeting on the 19th, since we haven't had get-togethers where the kids actually came out and watched the tree get planted because of COVID considerations, that, it would be nice if we could do it this year, but obviously the Board of Education is gonna have to, okay, because they're gonna be doing this on school property, so we have to get permission from the board to be able to have the kids from Elm Drive, and then from Lyle Church and other daycare facilities that show up when we do this, as we've done in the past. So I have a motion, I was gonna make a motion to be able to plant a tree at Elm Drive School, given the fact that it'll be part of the Arbor Day activity and it'll involve the kids, and we'll be able to do that, assuming that we get permission from the Board of Education to have the kids outside and do it.
And what's the cost?
The cost should be, I talked to Dennis Gendron, who is the tree grower, and his farm workers are gonna do the actual planting, and I said, we need to keep it at somewhere around $750 to at the very most $800, so that would be, in the ballpark, and he said, fine. I don't know-
Tree and planting?
Tree and planting.
Okay, good.
I don't know the species of the tree. I asked him to look at the site and look at the other trees along Elm Drive to see what was there. I know the sycamores are there, but we had a space where 2 trees had been taken out, and we replaced 1 tree last Arbor Day, and we have space for another one, so we went out and picked the site, and he put the flag in the and said, yep, right here. We're all set.
So is this a replacement for a tree that we took down? Or,
Well, what we try to do in policy is if there's an area where a tree has been removed, whether it's on a private residence or in this case on the school, we try to favor those sites as opposed to somebody who just, sends a letter or calls the office and says, I'd like to have a tree planted on my property, can you do that? So, there were 2 trees taken down in, I believe, 2018, right at the corner of the Avenue Dead, and so we replaced 1, now we're replacing the second.
so it's well within the budget, it's not an additional thing?
Oh, no, it's all within the budget. What we've done is we put $2,500 in the budget for the year for plantings, and we've spent $2,200 because we did 3 trees in the fall, and we have a replanting fund of $7,600 specifically for this purpose, and we talked about the idea that we could use part of that $7,600 in order to be able to plant 3 to 4 trees this spring, and be able to still have money left over out of that fund to be able to make sure we can plant trees in the sidewalk if we do the sidewalk project, 22. So we're all set.
Okay, good. So you made a motion to plant a tree at the
Yeah, so
Elm
I'm gonna
Drive
make a
School?
motion now.
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and we have, just to be, I think we should do this tonight, so I'm not sure if it's been done already, Sarah can fill in the blanks, but the other 3 plantings that are on schedule to be done in the spring would be on Maple Avenue. There is 1 tree proposed to replace a tree that was taken out at Ann Wilkinson's house on the corner, 1 across the street for a tree that was taken out by Scott Debbie's house across the street from Ann Wilkinson, and then 1 at the top of the hill by Jack and terms of Ann Wilkinson, that is gonna be a tree that has to come going under wire, so that we have to definitely make sure that it's under 25 feet, so that it doesn't end up being a problem 10 years from now. And in terms of Jackie Montfort, she's having other trees planted onto her property, and so in terms of what species of tree gets planted, I don't know, but we have but we, Mayor and I have talked about the fact that if she doesn't do this immediately in the spring, but wants someone who's planting other trees in her property to plant the tree, that as long as it's within the $750 framework, that would be okay to be done. Because I think she expressed an interest in possibly getting a larger tree that would be more money than we normally spend. It wouldn't be fair to say to the
So we're not gonna go
residents.
the extra, we'll pay whatever we
Yeah.
pay the others, and then she can cover the extra if she wants to.
Right, so we just need an invoice from whatever company she's going to use to be able to, charge us for the $750 for the cost of the trade. That would be fine.
Okay, good.
All right, so.
Anything else?
Nope, so I'm gonna make a motion to, plant trees at the following locations I just described.
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye. Okay, good.
I do have shade tree stuff, but they're not to be done now, just before we go to whole business.
Let's see if I can plow through this agenda here. So the New York, New Jersey Watershed Protection Act, I was asked by Scenic Hudson to send a letter of support for a federal law that they're trying to get Congress to review and approve. That would spend $50 million a year along the Hudson River waterways to protect and cleanse or whatever tributaries to the Hudson River. So I was planning to do that. Any problems with me doing that? No, I'll plan to do that. The mayor and I had a visit with Sue Serino yesterday. You want to talk about that?
Sure. Sue Serino was in town to take, she put a casework related to Millbrook, and we met with her to talk about the traffic calming that we were hoping to get on Route 343. I think, well, Tim, you did the presentation. It was very clear to everyone involved, I think, because our staff person and she were very familiar with the monument.
Right.
That we definitely needed to slow the traffic at that intersection, because people aren't treating the monument as a roundabout, and there isn't signage, stop signs to slow them either, and there aren't any signs that actually say reduce your speed around that area. So she said she's going to take it back, that she has a great relationship with DOT, and that they'll keep in touch with us on their records there. So it may be that through this sale, we'll get some relief finally. And joining us was the head of Cardinal High School, which is right at the dedicated program. So she certainly, Mary Sonko, certainly has an interest in seeing this through. And she knew the chief of staff very well who was there, so that
Which was nice.
too.
Yeah. So we'll see. We've gone to DOT twice with the various requests, and they've rejected both. They've done some modifications, but haven't done anything like what we wanted. And so this is just the third avenue we're going to pursue and see what happens. So maybe she can help us out. In her desk.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thanks. Old business. Any update? We've just been through the budget, so I don't expect there to be any update on the next chapter for the code.
No, I think what we'll do is, now that the budget's passed,
Yeah, okay,
get
fine.
together and I'll get back to you.
All right, good. What about the FEMA request for the pump station and the generator? So that's it. We're going to meet tomorrow with Delaware.
Yeah, we'll get the whole team together. I mean, we've done a number of things toward getting this, grant application going, including pulling a budget together for the scope of the project. And thank you, staff, for taking us on a site visit so that one of the things we determined is we definitely want the old pump station demolished, and we want the budget to include that, and also to include a fence to surround the station and the generator that we intend to put. Along with the mayor and I also attended a webinar on all the detail required of us in putting together an application. Thank you, Scott. I'm waiting for you're going to put together the map on the users to get the information on the town users as well. That'll be important. And tomorrow I think we'll suss out what the next steps are.
Okay, good. Any questions about that? It's gonna be like a team thing with Delaware, right? I mean, you and Sarah worked on some stuff to kind of, checking the FEMA thing process. But we'll see what Delaware has to offer. If they can take the ball and run with it, I'd prefer that, just from their experience.
Well, absolutely.
But,
I mean, they're going to do the heavy lifting.
Yeah,
so
right.
much of it is technical.
Right. And again, this is all Plan B for the funding of this thing. We're going to go forward with the bond we just approved, front up, so we don't lose any time here. Meanwhile, we'll try to get some money to support that, if we can. All right, good. Public comments, anything from the public? Okay, let's move on. No, here we go to the board members now. First, Deputy Mayor. Anything else you want to discuss?
No.
Thank you. Okay, Trustee Herzog.
Okay, I just wanted, we need to do appointments for Shade Tree Commission.
Okay.
Okay. We had a resignation because Bob resigned as chairperson of the Shade Tree Commission, and we had a meeting on March 30th. The Shade Tree Commission members who were left. We had a meeting on March 30th. I've got a draft of the notes from that meeting that I sent to Sarah, so that she can provide those, be able to look at the draft of what we discussed at the meeting itself.
But the draft doesn't have to be reviewed or approved by the board here, right?
No.
Okay, good.
No.
You guys can do your own thing and just post them. But all we need to do is know that they're in there.
Right.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and then they have to say draft, and since technically a Shade Tree Commission meeting is a public meeting, then, they have to be available for the general public
Sure.
to look at too, as a draft. We will, the next time we have a meeting, which I would expect to be in July, we would then look over those draft meetings and make sure that the Shade Tree Commission itself approves it, and then they become approved minutes,
fine.
the same process we go through here. But in any case, because Bob had resigned and he's got almost a year and a few months on that term, we discussed what to do about being able to, fill voids on the Shade Tree Commission board. So first thing, just be aware we had a resident, Eldar Shumanoff, who lives on Maple Avenue, come to the Shade Tree Commission meeting and volunteer to be able to get appointed to the board with the permission of you and of course the rest of the village board. And as part of that discussion, we were saying pending board approval of Eldar, that he said he had experience as a secretary in his previous residence in Westchester, and said he'd be happy to take over the secretary's position, which is presently me. So I said, okay, let's do that.
So first meeting he'll be the secretary, then the next meeting will be the chairman, I assume by then?
Well, so what's going to happen is Eldar is going to take over secretary, and he'll do that until July, when it's a one-year term, so it finishes up in July, and then he'll have to be reappointed for 2 years with the board's approval. And I said I would fill out the rest of Bob's term, which goes until July 14th, 2023 as chair. And just for information purposes, Kevin's term, a one-year term as vice chair, is due on July 14th, so he'll be reappointed hopefully for 2 more years after that.
Okay, good.
That'll go on.
So So to appoint Eldar to the committee, do we need a motion
Yeah, I have to make a motion.
Okay.
All right, so I'd like to make a motion that Eldar Shumanoff be appointed to fill the vacancy of Mike Herzog as secretary of the board and part of the Shade Tree Commission.
I'll second that. All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye? Good. All right, thanks,
And
Mike.
the other one is, you have to approve the appointment of me to fill the rest of the term of a resigned member, Bob Colacola, as chairperson of the Shade Tree Commission. We get to, we get to appoint who we want to, but basically it's, protocol, we'll say,
Okay, can I just appoint you, or you want a motion from the board?
I would prefer a motion.
So I'll make a motion that we appoint Mike as the chairman of the committee for the duration of the term. Second. All's in favor? Aye. Okay. Anything else?
No, when I go through my notes here, just letting you know, I attended a CAC meeting on April 6th, and at the CAC meeting, I found out that the town had signed on to the Climate Smart Community Pledge. That's something that the CAC have been working on for January and February, and had submitted the idea to the town board, and they
Okay.
considered it and did, in fact, go ahead and approve it.
Yep.
So they're now gonna took the pledge to the Climate Smart Community, and they'll continue to work with the CAC from us, giving them recommendations on how to actually meet the requirements and to move forward with doing that. And then these other meetings that went, April 1st, I attended a meeting with the Firehouse with you, Joe Rockford, Ted Bonus, Matt Rockford, Star of the Woods, to discuss funding for the roof repair, which has since been approved. Had Buffy already talked about the fact we had an application. I attended the meeting for the big application with her and Matt. We're working on that. And I attended a Walker's Municipal Council meeting on February 25th, meeting progress on how we're doing with the new water treatment plant and plans we have for making grant requests, including the sewer treatment plant, including the pump house. And also discussed and gave them the grant award from the county concerning clear property into the park for 500,000.
Oh, yeah, right, okay. Then a college. Yeah.
And finally, I visited two village sites to evaluate trees for potential removal as required by the new tree removal procedure. And we removed, one tree was removed, and there's a new one that is coming up on Reservoir that we have to look at. I've looked at it. Kevin just called and said he looked at it, so as soon as I speak to Eldar, we'll then make the recommendation.
What are your recommendations?
We'll make recommendation, either remove the tree or to get it trimmed. I asked Bob to make arrangements with Admiral to come in and give us prices on what it would be to remove the tree, to just trim the tree, and that, and also price on stump removal, so I have an idea.
This is the
what
tree
we're
on
looking
Joe Vellettri's lawn on the reservoir. Big old tree. But it's within 25 feet of our center line, which means it's village property.
But why do we need prices? Are the trees favorable or not?
Well, it's not considered dangerous at this point where it's gonna fall imminently. Even the branches of where they are, we're not gonna necessarily be able to take out the house or anything like that. So when it gets taken down, if it gets taken down, the trim could be on this year's budget or could be on next year's budget, because the budget for tree removal is pretty well shot for right now. So, and I'm gonna get a professional arborist to come in and make an evaluation, so we'll get either Brad Roller or Dennis to come in and look at the tree and tell us, along with Admiral, what they think we should
And the
do.
homeowner has to be in this discussion too, right? Because
Yeah.
you can't go save the tree but make it look like something that no one would ever want in the front yard, so.
Yeah, well, I had this discussion with Joe, and he expressed, the idea that he hated to see the tree go. It's a massive tree.
Sure.
It's gotta be over 100 years old, but it's losing, it's had branches break off
Yeah,
take it out.
okay, but do the due diligence and we'll see what
Right.
is recommended. Okay, anything else, Mike?
That's it.
Okay, Buffy?
Well, really quickly, the comprehensive plan review committee, as you know, sent out postcards, and the survey is now live. So, you know, we're asking everyone to make sure they take the time and fill out that survey. It was sent to all residents in the town and the village, even though it is a town survey.
There are questions about the village as well.
There are questions about the village, and there are some people wondering why the survey has been sent out, because we had the fire department, this, you know, meeting at the fire department and so forth. That was just to collect the data.
The open house that was.
Yeah, the open house, thank you. That was just to collect the data to lead up to this survey. So the survey is what's really important for people to fill out. So, just sort of, you know, I know I sent it to Nicole. She said she'd be posting it on the village website this week, and just want to encourage everybody to make sure they take time to fill that out. It's sort of coming to an end, and then a report from the survey will be done, and then that report will be delivered to the town, and they'll take that information, decide what to do from there.
Should we have it yet? Because I haven't seen it.
Yes.
This was in my mail.
Yes. It's a little postcard that tells you how to take the survey. Yeah.
But the information is going to be on the website once Nicole.
Yeah, it'll be on the website. Yeah.
I remember getting a card like that, but I won't be the only one who may fall into this category. But now if I go back, once it's now on the website and I can't find the card, is there a way to be able to get a?
No, the website with the link, the URL to get to the survey.
So it'll be
And the
posted on
survey-
the village website, is what he's saying.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that will take you to the survey.
Or you can just type in this URL that's on the card.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And what it does is it asks you to put in your physical address as a way to make sure only one person per residence fills out the survey.
Right. Yeah. That's about it. We talked about the MIG.
Okay, good. Trustee Doro, I'll defer to him when he's back next month about the tennis court. I've got three things I want to discover. First off, Verizon is going to be coming to the water tower to make some replacements of their antenna. I asked them to, and they agreed to replace the fence that's surrounding the water tower. For sure, around the generator, I also wanted to repair and replace the fence just connected to and to the right of the water tower. And I'm also going to ask if they're going to do anything about the fence that's next door neighbors. Now,
She approached me this morning again.
was that right?
Yeah.
It's horrible.
I
don't
know.
if you've seen it.
It's a joke.
So it's Verizon?
Verizon, yeah. So I'm going to see what I can do to get them to do it. If they won't, then I'm going to think about what we need to do ourselves as a village. Okay, but first let's see what Verizon will do for us.
Yeah, I don't know if they did. Were they the original installers of that?
I think it was Sprint. I think it was AT&T, which was then Sprint.
Okay, so I don't think Darlene put the fence up. I think it was.
I think it was. That's right.
Yeah.
No,
So
it wasn't her.
So just let her know that I'm working on trying to get that replaced as part of this Verizon upgrade.
good.
And we'll see how much they can do. The light in front of the Fox and the Hare is still out. I got some dates and times from Mike Schultz today, and I sent a request off to Central Hudson because they have to shut the power. Mike has to work with Bob to make the repair, and then Central Hudson has to come back and reset the power. So that coordination, I'm in the middle of just trying to make happen within the next few weeks. And the last thing is the pole that was taken out on the green. One pole was taken out back on Super Bowl Sunday night. The light pole's gone. You see an orange cone there as you're on the bend? No, you're not going to see it. So that pole, we've got the pole, but we can't find the bulb. It's going to be covered by insurance, but we are not able to make the replacement yet because we can't find the glass fixture that goes on top of the pole. And that's all I've got. Any other questions or comments? Like a motion to adjourn? In a second? Thank you.
Aye.
Okay, long meeting.